All right, let's see. Are we live yet? What up, everybody? Ooh, just trying to stay awake. Let's see. Before we get to this discussion, I want to make sure that we are live on YouTube and there's no hiccups. Sometimes you gotta double check and triple check. That's all. Oh man. All right, let's see. Okay, we are live. Good. Um, Good morning. Right now it's Friday, March 25th at 5 a.m. Why is my email open? um, and I'm here talking about Bridgerton season 2. I've listed all the spoilers. Who's joining me here? Hey, Rel Reynolds, what's up? What's up? Hi, Rama. Hi to you too. And just a heads up, this video is mainly for those of you my favorite. I'm sorry, my fellow Bridgerton fans. I'm sorry, I just woke up, man. I just woke up like 10 minutes ago. So if you haven't seen Bridgerton season 2, which is now streaming on Netflix, and if you don't want spoilers, I suggest you stay away from this video. This video is mainly for those of you, my fellow Bridgerton fans, who have already seen Bridgerton season 2, which premiered 5 hours ago. Yeah, this past midnight. There are 8 episodes total, but if you don't mind spoilers, welcome, and thank you for joining me this early in the morning. um, Rel says Bridgerton is my favorite Netflix series, along with Sex Education, the other Simone Ashley show. Yes, that's right. Simone Ashley is on that show definitely. So let's go through some of the spoilers here. I'm not gonna go through all of them, but definitely Edwina is the diamond of the season. I made sure here. I think we all saw that coming, right? Because even those of us who have never read the book, um, we knew that Edwina was gonna get picked as the diamond of the season, because that's when the plot thickens. Because we knew that it was gonna be a love triangle between Kat, Edwina, and Lord Anthony Bridgerton. Um, but I also have a few notes of my own that doesn't include these notes. I just want to say, I think I think one of the critics out there of Bridgerton season 2, I forgot who it was. I watched it on YouTube, and they mentioned, huh, this season 2 does not have as it doesn't have as much sex scene as the season 1 did. Remember season 1, Daphne and Simon were so hot and heavy many times. It was like full frontal, whatever. It's like they went all the way, sort of a deal. Not necessarily really all the way, but on screen all the way. But you don't see much of that with Kat or Kate and Anthony. Um, there's only a couple of scenes in season 2 where Kate and Anthony actually have sex. Um, and the critics mentioned one of the critics mentioned that it's like, oh, and they said along the lines of like, you know what, I like that. I like that they're not too physical, on the season 2, that they focus more on the verbal engagement between Kate and Anthony. I like that better. He said, I like that more emotional kind of connection. Um, the Rail says, yeah, Kate is the new Daphne in season 2. That's right. But here's my counter argument to that argument. Who cares? Who cares if there's enough sex scene or there's not enough sex scene? All right, I know you made it sound like the critic made it sound like, oh, having too much sex scene is a bad thing. Like, why? I mean, the sex scenes between Daphne and Simon in season 1, they're not just sex for sex sake. The sex actually had, I mean, it was an integral part of the story. Remember, Simon was deceiving. Simon was lying to Daphne because Daphne was so naive about sex. It's like, I gotta come, I gotta come outside, stuff like that. Because Daphne, I mean, because Simon has no intention of 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 continuing his lineage, of continuing his biological lineage. So that was part of the sex scene. It was not just sex for sex. So, and it doesn't matter if Kate and Anthony only has a couple of scenes and not too brazen. Who cares? Who cares? Even in one of the scenes with Kate and Anthony, Kate was like fully clothed, the second scene, and then she finally got naked. It's like, who cares? Who cares? Maybe, because everybody's level of comfort is different, right? Not all actresses, are that or are open or are willing to like expose everything, and kudos to those who want to expose everything. So it's like, I don't know. I think there are better or more substantive points about Bridgerton's show that you can dig deep or explore, as opposed to like, oh, which sex scene is better? Which sex scenes do I like more? But hey, that's my opinion. And I remember in season one, uh, everybody was talking about the sex scenes, like to the point where, if you recall, um, it was trending on Twitter. The topic of intimacy coordinator, basically the choreographer of the sex scenes between Daphne and Simon. Their real names are Phoebe and Vergay. So it's like intimacy coordinator. Intimacy coordinator, like, it was like, oh my god, everybody's like trending intimacy coordinator Bridgerton. How does it work? How does it work? How did they choreograph that? It's like, dude, dude, are we not all adults here? Adults here? Are we not all adults here in the room? Like, why are we behaving like children? Like, oh, ooh, like we just found out about sex for the first time like yesterday. I mean, is this the most scandalous thing since Sharon Stone crossing her legs in Basic Instinct? Really? Come on. I mean, let's dig deep, man. There's much about this season two that we can explore, other than, how come Kate only shows nudity in just in one scene, except compared to Daphne or Phoebe. It's like, ah. All right, so the other thing that I want to explore in season two, man, the emphasis on uh, how the emphasis on the purpose of marriage, right? I mentioned that in my spoiler-free review, but now I want to mention it also in spoiler review. It's so prevalent in season two, much more than it did in season one, and it just like I don't know about you, but it breaks my heart anytime um, Anthony says something about, I have to do this for my family to survive, for my family's legacy to survive, or anytime that Kate said, I'm doing this for my family, Otherwise, we won't have money. We won't have this and that. And then, of course, the Bridgerton has that same worry. I'm sorry, not Bridgerton. The Featheringtons, I believe, they have the same worry too. Everybody's worrying about money in season two. Everybody's worrying about finances in season two. Everybody's worrying that, oh my God, if this marriage doesn't happen, we're gonna be living out in the streets. I was like, oh my, it just I don't know. I don't know about you, but I feel like, it kind of dilutes the whole concept of marriage. All of a sudden, any romantic notions you might have about marriage, sunshine and rainbow, oh my, saying I do, how lovely, how wonderful marriage is, it goes out the window because of all these characters' mindset, of all these characters, way of thinking about marriage. It just, it's just like it kind of, it also opens up like the realization of like, oh, maybe marriage is not as it's cracked up to be. You know, it's not what it's cracked up to be at all. It's like, why is everybody going? And then I'm thinking, I'm starting to think like, oh, that's probably why a lot of people divorce so many times, or divorce, so often out there in the real world, because their purpose of marriage is not as lovely as Edwina paints it to be. Many times marriage out there is based on transaction, based on agreement. And I know for one, my parents, got married not necessarily out of love, but because um, they're like, you know what, I guess this will do. We may not be in love right now, but maybe down the road, you know, maybe, a lot of Asian parents are like that. Asian marriages, in the olden days are like that. They're like, they don't necessarily base their marriage in love. They base it more on, um, well, at least I'm starting a family. At least I'm not disappointing my parents. You know, I don't know who this man is that I'm marrying. I don't know who this woman I'm marrying, but maybe we will develop something while being in marriage instead of prior to marriage. So it just hits me, man. All this thinking in Bridgerton season 2. It just, and they really hammer it in, like they really hammer it, double down, triple down. Every episode they keep mentioning it. It's like, oh my goodness, it was much more than season 1, and it just really, it hits home for me. Because I know a lot of people who think that way in my family or extended family, definitely. Uh, oh, there's some chatting here. Vinay Gutal Pink. I think Colin's gonna be next. All right. Okay. So Vinay's already making prediction. uh, I don't know, man. I think they're gonna blend Colin and Benedict. Uh, Rel Renette. I think Love Triangles is the best recipe for the show. For example, the Twilight series, Love Triangles. Yes, definitely. Are they filming chronologically according to the books? That's the thing. I'm sorry, Vinay and Rel. I've never read the books. I've never read the books. Oh, but Vinay has the information here. Rhonda says she won't. So okay, I guess they're not gonna film it chronologically. um, okay, so the other spoiler that we definitely need to talk about. Let's see here. Oh, let's jump to this one. Eloise discovers Penelope is Lady Whistledown. Wow, that was, for somebody like me who've never read the book, right? That was like big to me. It's like, oh, and I kind of sensed that it was gonna happen. I kind of sensed that Eloise was gonna find out sooner or later because, sorry, I'm eating, guys, because I'm hungry. Because they were so close together, right? Mm. And at the end, Eloise kind of saw the sign. Eloise, once Penelope talked at the I think episode 8, Eloise picked up the signal, the signs, like, oh, this girl talks like Lady Whistledown. um, so Penelope kind of gave it away. Um, it's Penelope's fault. Like, why you gotta talk like that? But she can't help it because she is Lady Whistledown. So very gossipy, and it cracks me up. How in the season 2 it's even more than in season 1, the way that she picks, that Penelope eavesdrops the assistants, the maid, they're all chattering, right? And how attentive Penelope is to everybody surrounding her, like especially the ones who are invisible, like the maids, the helpers. And I get why they're talking or gossiping, uh, because that's probably the highlight of their day when they can gossip, you know, because it's such a shitty job that they have to serve all these aristocrats. So them gossiping about these aristocrats' flaws, is the highlight. It makes them happy. It's like it makes their shitty job kind of worthwhile. And Penelope just like she walks around the party, and yes, she also eavesdrops the aristocrats themselves or the rich people themselves, but mainly she eavesdrops or she walks around about the maids and the servants and the helpers, and it's funny how she's like, oh, okay, and I'm surprised that she doesn't have a notepad with her every time. But yeah, Eloise finding out Penelope is Lady Whistledown is just we knew it was coming, we knew it was gonna happen, and then the way it happened on episode 8, it just it was very very. It's the way I pictured it. I knew it was gonna be confrontational. I knew it was not gonna end well between them. Um, because if you've been lied to by your friend all this time for such a long time, I would feel hurt too. I would be angry too. I was like, "What? You've been keeping this from me?" Um, but Penelope's accusation of Eloise is also kind of valid. When Penelope said, "What have you done? All you do is talk about doing something. I actually did something," and that's kind of true. That's kind of true too. So it's like they're throwing truth at each other. It's like, oh, that kind of landed. Oh, that landed as well. It's like that punch landed. Oh, because Eloise, as much as I adore that character, you know, she reminds me of a lot of the people on Twitter. It's like we're so comfortable being social justice warrior or being equality of defender or a feminist, whatever you want to call it. We're so comfortable doing that behind our keyboards, hiding behind our keyboards, as opposed to actually going out there and actually make a difference. Um, that's what Eloise reminds me of. And Penelope or Lady Whistledown it reminds me of a blogger or any blogger, or any vlogger, or any YouTuber who can actually make and break um, a project or make or break a society. I don't. If you ask me which blogger or which vlogger that has that much power today, I can't pinpoint a name per se, but there are a few out there who, if they tweet something or if they blog something or if they post a video about something, it will go trending on Twitter or it will go trending or it will go viral, and then all of a sudden, so and so company or so and so people of power will be like, oh my god, that blogger wrote about us. Oh no, we gotta save face. We gotta do a PR backpedal, whatever. Some blogger out there or some vlogger out there have that much power. I don't. I don't. Obviously, I'm a nobody. But that's what she reminds me of. She reminds me of Harry Knowles back in the day. Ain't it cool news? When Harry Knowles can make a breaks uh, uh, a studio back in the day. I think the equivalency of Harry Knowles today would be Grace Randolph. um, but yeah, man, that confrontation between Eloise and Penelope at the end, it was great. It was great. It was nicely done. It was nicely done. Um, Ronet's best thing of season 2 are the soundtrack, especially Madonna, Material Girl, the costume, Love Triangle. Yes, yes. Well, that is part of why we love this show, right? The classical renditions of pop songs. Um, I read somewhere that they also had Harry Styles rendition. Um, but yeah, the Material Girl by Madonna. That's the one that we. That's the easiest that we can all easily pick up. It's like, oh, that's Material Girl. Um, In previous season one, I think they did Taylor Swift, Wildest Dream. That's one of them, and others as well. Um, Vinay says the actresses did a great performance in that scene. Yes, definitely. Reverend, selamat makan Rama. Thank you, thank you. Yes, it's just a little ice cream here, um, left over from last night. I'll get like a full breakfast later on. Um, Reverend, I will purchase all the books today. Okay, cool, cool, cool. That was such a great performance. Yes, definitely. So yeah, Elo is discovering Penelope's lady whistle down. One of the the earth shattering moments of this season two. Um, I gotta talk about the Edwina, man. Because let's talk about a little bit about Kate though. Simone Ashley, right? That's her name. I forgot that she was on Sex Education. I had to rewatch Sex Education again to like, oh, where is she? Where is she on this? She's like supporting character on Sex Education, right? And it's like, oh, there she is. When I rewatch Sex Education, I'm like, oh, she's barely on that show. She's only on a few episodes. So I'm so happy for her getting getting this big break with Bridgerton season two. You know, because with Sex Education, all the focus or all the attention is on obviously is on Emma Mackey, right? Because she's the lead, um, and Asa Butterfield, because they're the leads. You know, Simone Ashley was not the lead. She was just like one of the friends, if you will. So like, oh my goodness, so awesome that she actually gets this big break with Bridgerton season two. And another thing that I also mentioned, I gotta mention, the reason why, or the big reason why I love Bridgerton season two or season one or the show itself, the entire show, is that Bridgerton is so diverse, but they're not making that the center of attention. The diversity of the characters on Bridgerton is like a normal thing. Like, oh yeah, you know, of course, somebody from India, or like the Duke would be black, or it's like it's just a regular part of the storyline. They're not making that as a not once on Bridgerton did they mention like, oh, Simon, he's not white. They or like, oh, there's like, how come they're not this in this ethnicity or this in this color? Like, in season two, they mentioned that Sharma's come from India many times, obviously, but again, it's like a normal thing. It's like, of course, we got a lot of people come from India. Like, of course, so they're not making that to be a big deal, if you know what I mean. And I like that. I like that in Bridgerton. I like that fact about Bridgerton show, the diversity of it. That it's just a normal thing, a normal part of the story, and that's awesome. And I know the queen is black. It's like they're not making that a big deal at all. It's like, oh, of course, that's just how it is. So that's awesome, awesome, awesome. Rel says Simone is part of the baddie group. That's right. On Sex Education. um, so Edwina's confrontation with Kate, after Edwina found out that Kate had feelings for Anthony, that was also, I mean, like, it was sharp, man. There were many, I think, not many, there were a couple of episodes in which Kate was begging for Edwina's forgiveness. It's like, how many times, Kate's like, how many times do I need to, beg your forgiveness? And Edwina keeps coming back with this um, sharp rebuttal or sharp reply. It's like, oh, something along the lines of like, you hurt me, and then you ask for my forgiveness. I mean, the writing of the lines of that Edwina had to deliver, it was just so. Oh my goodness! It's clear as day that she was so hurt by Kate. Like, it's just amazing. It's amazing. And the girl who plays Edwina, she's also a fantastic actress. I know a lot of attention is on Kate and Anthony, but Edwina, that actress, is, I love her. I love her. She's so dreamy, and then when she's just pissed off, she's so fierce and unmoved and determined. You know, in her anger, it just she's great. She's great, and I hope the that actress goes far in her career because she's just amazing in this season too. Um, yeah, Kate and Anthony, of course, you know everybody's rooting for them, but I'm also rooting for Edwina. You know, Edwina's not the bad guy. She's not the villain here in this love triangle. No, she's a strong character. She's a strong woman, and you know she deserves all the happiness definitely. Um, let's see what other spoilers we can discuss. Um, hmm, hmm. I want to also just one of the scenes that stands out for me, or stood out for me, was that dinner scene, right? Dinner scene between the Bridgerton and the Sarma, and two of the guests were so condescending, were so rude about Sharma's family, and they revealed at that dinner the purpose of all these arrangement. You know, that's one of the scenes in which Edwina is angry at Kate. I don't know if it was before or after Edwina found out about. I think it was before Edwina found out about Kate and Anthony liking each other. Um, but yeah, man, that and then Anthony defended the Sharmas from those two rude people. It was so powerful. That scene was so powerful to me because it just shows how some people think that way, man. Like I mentioned earlier regarding the purposes of marriage, you know, some people think or look down on other people because of, oh, you're not following the regular standard of how people should be. Like you run away with a person, or like you're marrying that other person instead of the one you're supposed to be marrying, and like therefore you are low to me. Therefore you are shit to me. It's just like you are not on my level. It's like I know people who think that way, even in my extended family. You know, I don't know about you guys, but I know people who, in my family members, who married off to somebody that they love, but it's not within the approval of the family, of the entire family, and then all of a sudden, they look down on that person as like a second class citizen because they're not approved by the family. It's just that dinner scene is so telling. It was so revealing of how some folks think, how some folks think about other folks. You know, they're beneath me because you do this. You know, you're beneath me because you do this. It's just so condescending. It's like, and it was so cool that Anthony stood up and defended the Sharmas at that dinner table. Um, it goes to show his character also as a gentleman, as somebody as a man of honor. But yeah, it wow, that must have hurt really bad, on Sharma. If I were them, I'd be like, oh, that hurts, that hurts. For somebody to look down on me like that, that think that I'm beneath them because I chose my way or I chose my life how I want it to be, and it doesn't meet their standards. It just oh, dude, that scene was so powerful. Um, I don't know if I would be able to pull what Anthony did, though. I think it takes a lot of courage and bravery for somebody to stand up for somebody else like that. You know, it takes a lot of courage for you to stand up for yourself, which is awesome. But to stand up for somebody else other than you, that takes an extra courage. Um, it does help that if it does help if you're in the status of Anthony, who is a man of a certain reputation. You know, um, if it were me, I'm a nobody. I don't know if I would be like, "How dare you, sir, talk about the Sharmas that way? Now leave my house." Immediately. So that was a powerful scene to me. A powerful, powerful scene. What else here? Let's see. I think I've mentioned all the spoilers that are worthy of discussing. Um, of course, this season two has to end on a happy note with Anthony and Kate. We all saw that coming, and but again, I wish Edwina all the happiness in the world because she is such a strong and wonderful character, wonderful woman. Now, if you ask me though, and I'll end on this. I'll end on this. Okay. Let's see. Rel Renette's here. I hope the Emmys will acknowledge season two better than they did with season one. I hope so. I hope so. And it does baffle us, right? Why the Emmys snubbed season one. The Emmys didn't do anything with season one, not even a nomination, I believe, right? Unless it's for costumes, maybe. But yeah, hopefully the Emmys will recognize season two much better. So I'll end on this. Okay, so if you ask me which couple do I like better, Kate and Anthony or Daphne and Simon? And I gotta say, guys, as much as I love Kate and Anthony, I still love Daphne and Simon a little bit more. Who do you like better? Which couple do you like better? Um, I like Daphne and Simon more. I just thought that and I mentioned this in my video review to you guys. Their chemistry was so much stronger, like fireworks. It was so intense, so heated. And I'm not just talking about the sex scenes. Okay, remember we already discussed the sex scenes, but putting that aside, it's just there's whenever they're in the room together, whenever their eyes meet or when they look at each other, it just I don't know. It burns through the screen, man. It's just like, oh, it's 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 magnetic. It's electrifying. Like they just want to tear their clothes off just by looking at each other. It's just um, whereas Kate and Anthony, a lot of the times when they look at each other throughout this season two, or when their eyes meet, you can sense that yes, they have certain attraction to each other, but they're always sort of also held back, by their duties. Remember, duty is a big deal for them. It's like oh, I don't know. Should I tither on this? Should I entertain this idea? So yeah, that's why I mentioned in my video review to you guys, the spoiler free, that it took forever for the romantic between Anthony and Kate to finally happen, and it's like it takes up half of the season, and that kind of messes with my patience a little bit. I'm not a very patient guy. Whereas Daphne and Simon is just even in the beginning episodes of season one, it's just like you could tell it's like something is just like electrifying between them. You know, these are the kind of people that can't get their hands off of each other. You know what I'm saying? So I like Daphne and Simon a I don't know about a whole lot better, but significantly better than Kate and Anthony. You know, not to belittle Kate and Anthony at all, definitely. And I don't know. Let's see here. Railrunners Art supporting couples I love best is Colin and Penelope. Oh yeah, Colin and Penelope. But Colin and Penelope is on an okay. They're on another level of do they or do they not know that they like each other? You know what I'm saying? Whereas Daphne and Simon, it was like from the get go, it was like fireworks, electricity between them. And then Kate and Anthony is like, oh, I think I like this other person, but I'm held back by my duties, my duty, my duty, my duty. Whereas whereas Colin and Penelope, I think it's more on Penelope knowing that she likes Colin, and Colin is like, I kind of likes Penelope, but Colin is also a lot of times oblivious. So I guess you could say it's more of a one road sort of a deal, instead of a two-way road. Um, but yeah, I like Penelope and Colin. Don't get me wrong, okay? I like them. But throughout the season, for much of the time, it was more of a one-way street rather than a two-way street. Because Penelope and Colin don't know where they stand about each other. um, Rel Ryan says maybe Colin sees Penelope like a sister. Maybe that is the deal. Maybe Colin friend zones Penelope, right? Maybe Penelope got friend zoned by Colin, so that's a possibility. Remember that scene where in season 2 where Colin finds out that guy, what's his name, the one that wants to go to America, wants to go to New York, that he finds out that he's a fraud. Remember he smashes the diamond. It's like, oh, this is just glass. This is not real diamond. You know, prior to that moment, because he took Penelope into that room. Penelope thought that Colin was gonna confess his feelings to Penelope, but no, that's not what happened. Colin's like, I'm bringing you here because you're gonna be my eyewitness. To me exposing this fraud. So I was like, oh man, poor Penelope. You got her hopes up. You got her like expecting, anticipating. It's like, oh, poor Penelope once again. Uh, but that is kind of like a it kind of bringing back to the blogger thing again, the vlogger thing. It makes sense, right? A lot of us blogger or vlogger, however you want to put it, we tend to bury ourselves in our work, or like we tend to channel our frustration, into our writings or into our videos or into our whatever outlet it is. Sometimes because we do that, sometimes because we get rejected in the in the real world. We're like, oh, you know what? That's it. I'm just gonna lay it all out, with a pen and paper or on my computer or laptop. I'm gonna show them what's what. And that's so. It makes sense for Penelope to be whistled down because she is so invisible to a lot of people. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people, whenever there's marriage prospects, the whole matchmaking courtship, the queen picking the diamond, whatever. Penelope is always the last person. Penelope is like never even thought of for that prospect at all. You know what I'm saying? So it makes sense that she lashes out in her writings. She lashes out on people through her writing. And it's like, oh, I can't even get Colin. It's like, that's why I'm creating this alter ego, Lady Whistledown. It's a very, very sensible motivation for her. That's what I was gonna say. So yeah, but I love Penelope and Colin, but yeah, I think Colin kind of friend zones her. But yeah, Daphne and Simon definitely still my favorite. No offense to Kate and Anthony. But yeah, I think that's all that I. Yeah, let's see here. Yeah, these are the spoilers, and I think we've discussed the ones that matter the most. So season 2 is now on Netflix, guys. Go check it out. It's streaming right now, and I think I want to rewatch it again because it's so good. It's so good. Such a fantastic show. I've never read the book, but I'm so glad that this show exists. Thank you, Shonda Rhimes, everybody on Netflix for creating Bridgerton. for me to enjoy. It's and if you haven't seen it, for those of you who haven't, you are missing out. Okay, go check out Bridgerton season 1 and season 2 on Netflix right now, and it will. It's a lot to unpack. It's a lot to process, and it's a show that makes you think about relationship, about marriage, about you know um, family survival, economic finances, whatnot. There's a lot of aspects about Bridgerton. It's not just love triangle for love triangle's sake. It's not just sex for sex sake. There's deeper stuff in there. There's profound stuff in there. So, I hope you get to explore that because this show is very very nuanced. I love it. I love it. And thank you, Vinay. Thank you, Rel, for chatting with me. Uh, Renel says Shonda is a mastermind. Hits after hits. Scandal, Grey's Anatomy. That's right. Now Shonda is with Netflix. So she's making a lot of shows with Netflix, including the recent one, Inventing Anna. Remember that about the con artist Anna Delvey? That's also Shonda Rhimes. That's also Shonda Land. So yeah, she made a deal with Netflix, and she's gonna bring a lot of great stories onto this platform. And we are so lucky that we are living in a time that we get to enjoy all these stories from Shonda Rhimes. So much, definitely. All right, thank you, Rel. Thank you, Vinay. Thank you, everybody, for chatting in. For those of you who didn't get to chat, share your thoughts about spoilers, Bridgerton season 2 spoilers, in the comment section below. And as always, subscribe. I gotta go to work. All right, so let's rock this.